very sadly, that is our last session of PriCon 2020. I hope you've enjoyed all the speakers we've gotten to hear from, that you've been able to engage in Slack and gather, and to make new friends, and now have a better picture of how you can fit into the privacy community. Before we close, I'd like to say that this conference was organized not by paid individuals or any form of professional, but by volunteers who together spent hundreds of hours working on every detail you've seen in the last 2 days. Everyone who is helping to organize this conference is doing so because we believe in the future that privacy-preserving technologies can bring. And we feel that putting on community events like this one are essential to helping us organize to get there. And so to help us say thank you, I would like to ask you to do one more thing. I want you to, if you remember in our opening session, we did the sort of B letter as like an upvote. For each group and individual that I'm about to thank, I ask that you would really bring out the B's and help me give what would be in person a huge round of applause for all the people who supported the development of this conference. So first and foremost, obviously our speakers. Couldn't have a conference without them. And from the stories that I've heard, speakers, especially ones that were putting together videos ahead of time, worked so hard to make the talks. I heard of multiple speakers who were re-recording their session 5, 10, even 15 times just to get the perfect message that is as clear and crisp as possible. And so when you think about the combined amount of effort across all 60 people to create this much content of this high quality, it's really, we owe this conference to their willingness to volunteer, to lower the barrier to entry for us to learn these things. So huge thank you to all of our speakers. And secondly, to all of our sponsors. Without your financial support, OpenMined would not be able to do full-time development and provide events like this one and educational content like our courses, tutorials, and blogs. Thank you so much for all of your support. And to everyone in the audience, if you're looking for a privacy startup or enterprise to work for, or to have as a customer, or just looking to fill up your social media feed with more privacy awesomeness, please do consider our sponsors, as they literally keep the lights on for all of our paid contributors. And finally, for the conference organizing team, in no particular order, Bennett, Farkas, and Kyoko. OpenMind's brand and a huge number of branded assets came from Bennett, Kyoko, and the design team. Everything you saw on social media, all the slides between talks, the polished headshots both on social media and on the website design, even the template for a lot of the slide decks that you saw within the talk were provided thanks to the talent of Bennett and Kyoko. And the design team. So huge thank you. The visual design of the conference was absolutely beautiful, and it's all thanks to your expertise and ability, as well as your willingness to lend that to this volunteer initiative. Second is Madeline Mamliano, who leads our social media team, and for the last several months has been scheduling and pushing out our social media content, and especially for his deep expertise in live video streaming, coming through in the clutch to save our bacon yesterday when our streaming service provider lost their internet connection. Huge thank you to Madeline. You literally kept this conference going all the way to the end. Next, I'd like to thank Kelly Trask, who drove the marketing strategy for the conference, leading to over 2,500 registrations for the conference and 350 concurrent live streams, even though our conference spans the entire world of time zones. Kelly optimized our messaging, coordinated assets, and created content featuring each speaker's unique story in our conference social media campaign. Thank you so much, Kelly. Next, I'd like to thank Amber, who put together our Gather Town and collated videos from all of our different teams to put together this morning's community session. She also has to put up with me on a daily basis, which has its own challenges. Thank you, Amber. Patrick Kaysen, who developed the website with a hugely fast turnaround time in less than, 48 hours. And since then, he's provided endless IT support across the needs of the conference. Thank you, Patrick. Next, I'd like to thank Shaista, who emailed, managed, and collected the information for over 60 speakers attending the conference. She's basically lived on email for the last few months, dealing with every possible hurdle you can imagine. A huge thank you to Shaista. Next is Emma Bloomkey, Jess Sachin, and the whole partnerships team who worked with all the sponsors and partners to help facilitate many of the talks that you saw today and yesterday, to cover the costs associated with the conference and support additional developer grants within the community through our bronze, silver, and gold sponsorships. This required endless Zoom calls in the weeks leading up to the conference with all of our fantastic partners, and we're hugely grateful for their work. And last, but certainly not least, Chris Briggs, the lead organizer for the conference, whose determination, grit, persistence, patience, and an insane amount of hard work made this conference happen. In no uncertain terms, PriCon2020 happened because Chris Briggs agreed to put it on only 3 months ago. And it has been on his shoulders for all this time, involving many late nights, editing last-minute video additions and corrections, and in general, a huge amount of care for privacy, for the audience, and patience with the rest of us. A huge, huge, huge thank you to Chris Briggs. And to that end, if you think you might be interested in joining amazing people like Chris in planning events, writing code, or teaching concepts in blog posts and videos, you should consider joining OpenMined. You can do so by looking at the open volunteer positions page at placements.openmind.org. And with that, I thank you for coming to PriCon. I thank you for joining us on our mission to change the world for privacy, and I leave you with a final word. Let's solve privacy.